so glad that you decided to join me tonight. I have so many things to share with you, tools and techniques, different possibilities for creating new avenues in your life. And one of the pieces that's most interesting to me as I meet people is that I hear about all of the things going on in their life that are not working, the pieces of their lives that make them unhappy, the things that they don't want more of, as well as the feeling that there's no way that they can get out of that box. And a big deal to me is that when I let people know that they have power, they look at me like I'm crazy. Well, what do you mean? What do you mean I have power? What do you mean I can change this? And the truth is that we often don't have enough insight into our life as far as what we like, what we want, how we think, what we do, what we eat, how we treat our body, how we treat other people. We lack a level of awareness. And so the first key in having a fun and juicy life is having awareness. Now, for me, and awareness is probably different for everybody. For me, what awareness means is it is an embodiment of being in my environment. It's being very present about not only what's going on in this external circle, which is where I am, so my body, my mind, my spirit, any environment that I'm in, how that may be affecting me. Is it hot? Is it cold? And how it's making me feel on an emotional or spiritual level. And oftentimes we don't think about or have awareness about where we are, whether it be our home, or maybe it's a job that we're in that's unfulfilled, or maybe it's in a relationship or a situation that's not really working for you. And this is where that stuckness is. And what happens is when we choose to have awareness, we look deep into our lives and we see, well, what are we creating? How are we responding? How are we participating? How am I interacting in my world? And what effect is that happening? What effect is happening from that energy? Awareness is an extremely important place for you to look deep. And when I say look deep, what I mean is to take time to really look around you. Am I living in a way that feels good to me? It's a great question. And so this is a question that I would write down on this paper. Am I fulfilling the dreams that I have while I'm here? And that could be a maybe. Some of these are not always yes and no. Some of them are maybe. Is my living environment conducive to the feeling and the emotional stability that I really want to have in my life? Am I being true to myself? Am I cheating myself? Am I lying to myself? Am I making myself believe in stories that aren't true? Am I addicted? Am I addicted to drama? Am I addicted to a drug? Am I addicted to TV? Am I addicted to the media? Am I addicted to politics? I think you see where I'm getting here. Awareness, when we look and we say, okay, you know what, I'm not feeling so good here. I'm not feeling solid. It's usually because the internal environment and the external environment are not in harmony with what we want. And so awareness is a great key. And Heather Ashamara, Warrior Goddess Training, and go check her out. She's been a longtime teacher and mentor, and I've worked with her on, just so many projects. And what she taught me is that when we have this awareness and something pops up. So maybe you realize you are addicted to soap operas. And when you watch that soap opera, it gives you an emotional charge. You watch the characters, you get emotionally involved. It ruins your day because you're feeling bad for the character, blah, 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 dot, dot, dot. And so looking deep at these different aspects of our lives, of how we have these habits and addictions. Now, we also have habits and addictions such as brushing our teeth. That's a habit and an addiction. It's something that we do over and over again. And so it becomes programmed. The synapses are connected, and it's something we just automatically do. We really don't think about it. We don't take the time to go, oh, I'm going to brush each and every tooth. But what if you did? Maybe those cavities, maybe those, you see what I'm saying here? And so awareness is a beautiful place. And so what I'd like is I'd like everybody to close their eyes for just a moment, if you will. And I want you to take a really deep breath and let it out. And have another deep breath. And I want you to tune in with your body. I want you to become very aware of your body. And I want you to see if there's any sensations that you feel. Do you feel like you have a headache, or is maybe your chest is tight, or maybe your jaw is really tight, maybe you're stressed out, or maybe you feel really relaxed and you're real loosey-goosey. Feel into that state and have awareness about how your body feels at this moment. Are you comfortable? Are you uncomfortable? Are you hungry? Are you thirsty? All right, everybody go ahead and open your eyes. So being in tune with the body, that awareness, you can take better care of yourself. Oftentimes we deny ourselves. So I know people who deny themselves food, and I know people who have an overabundance of food. And there's a balance in that. And with that balance comes awareness. And awareness creates balance. And so awareness is one of the big keys, because the more you become aware, the more you become in control of your destiny, of your future, of your now. If you're not comfortable, get up and get comfortable. Do something to get comfortable. Why deny yourself of that? If the news upsets you and makes your blood pressure go up, turn it off and go outside. Have the awareness that it's not good for you. Awareness also creates better choices in your life. And when you create better choices, which means opportunities, you can choose the ones that fit for you. Now that's big. And a lot of people, once again, they feel like they have no control. I have no control. I have to work this job. I have to live in this house. I have to do this thing. No, you don't. You know, I had someone who had the awareness that they were very unhappy living in the area that they were living in. And I spoke with them, and they said, you know, I'm really ready to move on. I don't know what I want to do. And I said, well, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What sounds fun? And she said, I want to go to Hawaii. And then she laughed and she goes, I have no idea how I'm going to get there. We don't even have a dime. How would we even move there? And I said, well, wait a second. You know, let's not poo-poo this yet. And so what we talked about is we said, well, what if you applied for some jobs before you even went? And what if you got rid of all your stuff and sold it? And what if you stayed at an Airbnb? And what if, and all of a sudden within 2 weeks, all her what ifs came together, and she called me and she said, we got 2 tickets to Hawaii and the car's being shipped in 2 weeks. Why not? Why not? It's a choice. And so awareness is a choice. The second piece to this that's so very important to understand is letting go. The reason we get bogged down and we forget how to have fun, we forget how to enjoy life, we forget how to have that feeling of playfulness, the feeling of presence, the feeling of belonging, because we get bogged down by the normal pace of everyday life. And we turn on that TV and we let things bother us and they cycle in our head and we don't take care of ourselves. And so letting go is an act of self-love. And what I mean by letting go is it's not always necessarily, purging things out of the house. And it may be. For me, I had a point where I got rid of every single thing that reminded me of people that I didn't like, that it created upset feelings for me, or I just looked at it and I went, that just doesn't match. It doesn't do its thing for me. And I got rid of every single thing. And what it created was peace and harmony in my home. I was no longer looking at something on the wall that reminded me of somebody that hurt me. And so getting rid of that old energy, getting rid of those old stories. We live by our stories. And I meet people all the time. I say, well, tell me something about yourself. Well, I've been divorced 10 years. I'm disabled. My life's not going so great. What a story. And the truth is that we all tell those kind of stories. We forget to look at the other stories of who we are. And so letting those old stories go. And it doesn't mean that you're not still that person. I mean, the people that we become are all of our experiences, whether they're failures or whether they are victories. But the truth is that when we drag these old stories behind us, they hold us back. And it cuts us away from our true essence, which is to have fun, which is to enjoy. And so a really good way of letting go and figuring out what needs to let go is what we just did, feeling into that energy. We closed our eyes and we felt our bodies and we felt, my knee might be a little sore. Ooh, I need to get more comfortable. But it's the exact same thing for letting go. Ooh, calling myself ugly, it makes me feel bad. I don't like that story. That story hurts me. That story makes me feel less than. Or maybe the story is, I can't do it. I can't make life work. I'm too old. It's just not working out. I give up, whatever. And that's very legitimate. But once again, it's a story. And the reason I call it a story is that, we live on this planet with infinite possibilities. I mean, truly, when you get on the internet, you can Google anything. You can have instant information. You can become educated. You can find out what's physically wrong with you. You can find out what's playing at the corner movie theater. You can find out what's happening in Australia right now. And so with the internet, you have opportunity. You have an opportunity to do things, to empower yourself, to let go of those old stories. And an old story likes to replay in our head. It loves to be there. But the truth is that we have to put a stop to it because we are the ones that are in control of it. It's really interesting in the Toltec teachings, they talk about how our brain cycles, all of these different thoughts. And Miguel in the Fifth Agreement, Don Miguel Ruiz in the Fifth Agreement talks about, it's all lies. Everything that you believe up here, your story, your fear, your beliefs, what you say, what you think, what you do, it's all lies. Because it is not the essence of who you are. It is a learned pattern. It is a behavioral system. It is a programming. It is a brainwashing. It is going to school and learning in school all of the things they taught. Those are taught perceptions. Those are taught ideas. And our programming and our operating system comes from those things that we learned. And we're a lot like monkeys. When we see something when we're little babies and we go, oh, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. So I'm going to do that and I'm going to pretend to do it. And, you know, we've all seen those little kids who were 2 years old and who repeat the bad word that they heard come out of somebody's mouth in the house. And they don't know what the word means, but the reaction it gets is what makes that program stick. And so if you were told when you were young that you were overweight, then your whole life, that program of I'm overweight sticks in your head. Or maybe the program of I'm not good enough. Maybe somebody never patted you on the back. Maybe somebody told you you weren't good enough for whatever reason, which is a lie. And so that story, that system, it continues on. And so by choosing to let these things go, choosing to consciously, with awareness, to let it go. And the way that you let these things go is you create new stories. I am powerful. There's a great new story. I would love everybody watching this and everyone that's here today live to tell yourself that story. I am powerful. I can do anything I put my mind to. I put my heart to. I have infinite possibilities right in front of me, on the internet, out in the world. I can create anything. How about I'm not stuck? Or I choose to not be afraid. You know, the mantras and the stories and the things we tell ourselves, we have choice. And that brings me into the third piece, which is practice, 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 and tools. The third step to a fun and juicy life is having tools, things to remind you, things that calm you down and help you center and get focused, an intent, a mantra. When I started doing this deep, deep spiritual work and was on the path to become a minister, part of what I learned to do was really take those tools and integrate them into my life. And so whatever would come up in my life, I had a tool for it. I have a whole tool chest. In fact, something cool that I learned, I think Heather Ash probably taught me this one, is I have an index file with different cards of each different tool, and then I have those separated out. So when I need something to heal, when I need something to change my perspective, when I need something to look deep, I have the tool right there so that I can practice. So tools such as the writing experience that I just had you do, some of these tools are an incredible opportunity to have awareness. So my first tool that I suggest is journaling. And journaling is an insight into what's happening in your mind, what's happening in your spirit, what's happening in your heart, what's happening in your life. And being able to put that down in some form, whether it be audio or written or video, you know, there's lots of different means to capture this, even by pictures. It helps with your transformation because you can see progressively how you're doing on that path. What's coming up for you? What are your thoughts today? What's reoccurring? What do you see reoccurring in the pattern of these journaling sessions? And what do you see that's happening, that's new, that's blooming and sprouting within you that you can give more energy to? Journals are a place to share your authenticity, and being able to be authentic about where we really are and what's really going on in our lives is a huge, huge key to all of this. That's a huge tool. authentic. I'm not going to lie to me anymore. I'm not going to lie to the world anymore. I'm not going to lie to my spouse anymore, saying things are okay when they're not. Whatever it is, look for those places and become that authentic being that you want to be able to be. It's hell and it's a prison when you have to hide yourself or walk on eggshells or shut your mouth. And it doesn't mean being the know-it-all. I mean, it's so beautiful. And oftentimes, we all get into this practice and we get all, we get empowered. Ooh, I'm empowered. And we go out there and say, oh, you got to do something different. No, it's the exact opposite. It's stepping back, and it's having the awareness that what appears to be happening, what you think you're seeing and hearing, what this person is sharing with you is pieces of a much larger entity of information. And in that, when you understand that and you have awareness, that's where compassion can come in. And you can look at that person and you can say, you know what? This person's a little out of kilter today. They've had a really bad day. You know what? I'm going to embrace them. And so you come from choice. You come from decision. You come from a place of awareness. You come from a place of practice. Practicing having compassion when someone is not necessarily in the right frame of mind. The other thing is using tools that rev you up. So like one great tool for me, it's not even really a tool. I mean, we all can do it. It's like, man, I crank that music up. I put on music that inspires me, that has lyrics, that speak to my soul. When I need to go deep, I use meditation music and I use guided meditations. When I need to think deeper, I get on Google and I ask questions to Google all the time. And I look at different articles and I go deep to try to understand not only what's happening within here, what's happening out there, what's happening with the other person I might be interacting with, what's happening with the situation I might be involved in. Because when I come from awareness and I step back, it changes every aspect of the interaction. I speak from a place of authenticity. I speak from a place of awareness. I speak from a place of non-judgment and understanding and compassion. And when you have that, it changes the entire dynamic. I want to stop for a minute because we have a lot of questions. And I know I've been going on, and I'll wait to get into the other parts. So I'm going to go to the chat here. Ooh, let's see. Here we go. Yes, so let's see. So Jan said, can you give us a quick example? I feel like it could be a diary. And yes, absolutely. And when you're doing this journaling, what I suggest is that you make it creative, because you're not always going to be in a writing mood. And sometimes there may be, moments of big energy. You're feeling that big energy and you need to really examine it. What is this about? Whoa! And that's when you get on your phone and you do dragon speak and you go blah, 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 and maybe it types it out. Or maybe you do an audio. Or maybe you do a video. And see, these things, nobody ever has to see them. They're for your own growth. They're for your own expansion. But it's your place to go ahead and have some awareness. So thank you so much. Let's see. And that looks like that's all the questions right now. So the next step in tools and practice is actually action. And so when I meet people, I often ask them, I say, well, what do you want to do? You tell me you're depressed. You tell me that you're bored. You tell me you don't like your life. You tell me that, things aren't the way that you want. What do you want? And the most common answer I get is, I don't know. And it's a perfect answer. I don't know is probably one of the best answers. And I love it when somebody says that to me. Sometimes when somebody knows too well where they're going, I worry a little bit that they're not really listening to their heart, that they're not really listening to their mind. And I also hear people that are very much on a mission, and they are connected with their heart and their mind, and they're very much on the path because that alignment is happening for them. It's opening up. It's their life is that masterpiece that they want. And so, you know, it's an incredible opportunity when you get permission to play, and you have to give yourself permission to play. And with that tool of permission to play, it's not just about being a kid. It's not just about going out and dancing and drinking and having a good time. I mean, that certainly may be one of the pieces you need to fill up that container to feel great. Do it if you need to do it. Moderation, balance. Be in balance with yourself, not too much of anything. It's important. So when we're looking for where those passions lie, it's usually in the woulda, shoulda, couldas. And I love the woulda, shoulda, couldas because that's a great place. I go there all the time to look for, well, what, you know, does that excite me? Is that something I really want to do? So one for me recently is someone asked me, if you could do anything and you had the time and the money and the resources, what would you do? And I said, you know what? I want to salsa dance. That's what I want to learn. I want to learn how to salsa dance. And they said, well, why aren't you doing it? And of course, my answer was, I don't have time. I can't find a class, blah, 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 blah. Okay? That's the voice you shut down. That's the piece that you discard and get rid of and cut off and be done with. It's the letting go. So when that comes up, I want to go take salsa dancing. Get on YouTube. Get on YouTube. Check it out. See what they're doing. Maybe, move around a little bit. See how that feels in your body. See how that feels in your mind. Or maybe when you were a little kid, you always wanted to try to do ceramics, but you've never done it. And you keep denying yourself. And what happens when we have one of those childhood desires that we never fulfill is that inner child kind of suffers a little bit, because that inner child wants to play, and that inner child is always present in us. It doesn't go away. It's a part of us all the time. Every age that we are, every stage of development that we are, every stage of emotional development, spiritual development, that's all within us. It doesn't just disappear. It doesn't dissipate. And so tapping into that inner child is a huge key. And the way I do that is I teach people how to play. So one of the recent parties we had, one of our play parties that we had, which was incredible, it was about 6 months ago, I think. And so I brought wigs and mustaches, and we played games, and we danced around, and we got loose, and we became so silly. And it was really hard in the beginning of the class. Everybody sat there, with their hands in their lap, looking around, not really talking, feeling uncomfortable. And by the end of the class, everybody had mustaches on and wigs and dancing around. And I made up this little song. And we all joined hands to bless each other. And someone would go in the middle. Mary's in the middle. She's so cool. I love Mary, Yahoo! Or whatever it was that we came up with. And we danced around and we sang. And what happened is we started to feel that energy, that connection to that inner child, to that innocence, to that playfulness. And that's the goal. That's one of the real keys. And the reason we don't often provide that for ourselves is because we lack awareness. We lack the tools to remind ourselves. And we lack the ability to journal it and write it down and say, you know what? I'm going to create a bucket list. So for this one, the tool is bucket list. Go get yourself a poster board, get colored markers, and start dreaming and start writing stuff on there. And I don't care how outlandish it is. One of the pieces on my bucket list is to have a mud party No kidding. I remember being a little kid and it would rain and my brother and I would go outside and we would sling mud at each other and slip and slide. And it was so much fun. And the truth is that's on my upcoming list this fall. I'm doing it. And so, you know, and some people say, oh, that's so silly. That's childish. You know what it is? It brings back that essence of feeling good, of feeling playful. It's just my tool. So picking those tools that really make you feel good. Self-nourishing. Nourishing, giving yourself baths, giving yourself manicures, going out and getting your hair done. Wear ball gowns to bed. If you're sick, go to Goodwill. Go buy yourself some ball gowns. Go get yourself a tiara. If it feels good and it's bringing that energy to you, do it. It's another tool. How you treat this vessel, how you dress this vessel, how you nourish this vessel, how you let this vessel sleep is a key component to creating the fun and the juiciness that you want. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and check the questions real quick. Oh, yep, Jessica, permission to play. Yes, yes, yes. And we're actually going to have a whole class on permission to play. It's probably going to be about a 4-week series where we get together and we unleash that inner child and we allow ourselves to learn how to play. And it'll be a really fun interactive experience. It'll probably be group setting where we limit it to probably under 10 people, but I'll let everybody know when we're doing that. But yes, permission to play. And playfulness is also about keeping patience. So letting yourself play when you feel impatient coming on. So for me, when I'm in the car, I'm in traffic, I'm not going anywhere, and I feel that impatience coming up, I turn on the radio and I pretend like I'm Diana Ross, I get on the, I might call a friend on my Bluetooth, of course. But you can change that energy through playfulness. And oftentimes it's easier to give ourselves permission to not play than it is to play. So that takes practice of going, you know what, I'm going to go out and have a good time and I'm going to enjoy myself and I deserve it. So let's see. Thank you, Jan. I am so grateful for you and our friendship and the years of connection and sharing and love. Thank you so much, and thank everybody. It's such an honor in my life, and this is really why I do everything that I do. This is my mission, and I'm learning along with you, which is amazing. Even though I have these different pieces to offer, I'm just as much in an exploration, learning about myself, as I go deeper and deeper. So, thank you. It's so much fun. Mwah! Sweet girl. Okay, so I've got a great one here. It says, it's vital, I think, to not stifle our inner child. I think that our adult bodies are simply life support systems for our inner child and our innate and often stifled sense of wonder. Brilliant. Absolutely. I totally agree with you. And, and something that I discovered long ago is that a lot of the thought process around that is that we're, at 18, okay, it's time to be an adult. It's time to get over the childish things. You have to get serious, no more play. Can't be out there having fun. And that if you're doing a good job, you're doing a great job if you're serious. If you're too playful, well, you're sloughing off. And it's really the opposite in a lot of ways. We don't allow ourselves enough playfulness, and it absolutely stifles the creativity part of ourselves. It affects us in relationships. It affects us in parenting. It affects us in our jobs. It affects every single aspect of what we're doing. And so I'm in full agreement with you. Yahoo! That's a great awareness. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. So last piece of this is mastery. The last piece is incorporating these different aspects that we're talking about. And everyone says to me, they said, well, you know, I've lived this life. You don't know my past. You don't know what I've been through. There is no way that I can bring myself to fun and juiciness. But the truth is that you can, and it's a choice. And oftentimes when I'm choosing to make a choice in my life, when I'm choosing that I want something different, that I want to be, so say for instance, I'm wanting to be fun and juicy. And by the way, juicy to me is about an essence of life. It's about an overflowing of the abundant blessings and brilliance and amazing possibilities. And so for me, it's being tapped into that juiciness of life. And so part of mastery in that is reminding yourself. So part of mastery is reminding. So using your calendar and your phone is a great tool. Using your Google Calendar to schedule play dates for yourself. Using your Google Calendar to schedule nourishing yourself. Using your calendar to make sure that everything that you need to be whole in your being, mind, body, and spirit, is being handled, and that comes first. Now, I understand that you have to make money, and I understand that the house has to get cleaned and the dishes have to be done and the kids have to be taken care of. Awesome. Totally agree. But, it's that old Maxine Taylor, who I work with a lot, and we'll be doing some webinars coming soon. We were just talking about the oxygen mask, and she had a client come to her. And she said, I'm taking care of my elderly mom and dad, and I'm really lost in life, and I don't know what to do, and I'm miserable, and I've lost my fun, and I've lost my joy. And Maxine said to her, well, where's your oxygen mask? Is it on you? Is it on everybody else? Is it, who are you taking care of first? You have to take care of yourself first. You have to nourish yourself first. You have to create the environment and the energy first. And then the rest of that comes along. So it's learning to say yes at the right times. And it's learning to say no. And being very sure in your yes and no. Being authentic to you. Being authentic to your family, being authentic to your needs, being authentic to your path and your mission. That's the true piece of mastery. And so when you have an intent, so let's say that you decide that next year you're going to go on a journey to Peru. Perfect example. Here's your intent. Well, the first thing you do is you have to know that you're going to be able to get there. And so part of mastery is knowing. It's going, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, I have power to create anything in my life that I want. Anything. That's number one. Number two is the constant reminders. So I create signs. I create little signs for my wall. Here, hold on one sec. I create little signs that I put in the bathroom on my mirror. I take those washable markers that you can use on whiteboards, and I use those on my mirror. And I write words, and I write things to remind myself. And when I find myself out of alignment with what I want, I go back to that. I create vision boards. I have playlists on my YouTube account of different things that I can listen to bring me back into alignment. So mastery is having that daily practice. Mastery is being fully involved in your life and taking notice and taking time to really listen to yourself and what you want. Sorry. So, from Jan, Jan says, would be so awesome. Love it. Absolutely brilliant. I hate being a grown-up. Nobody believes me when I say I want to be Peter Pan and never grow up again. Jan, I'm in full agreement with you. I'm in full agreement. Pardon me. I'm in full agreement with you. And here's the thing, is that I think that growing up is a state of mind. And we certainly, as adults, it's our place in this world to hold a presence. It's our place in this world to be here as responsible, emotionally vibrant, emotionally well, emotionally stable people. I think that coming here as adults and being the change and being on our missions and helping other people and showing how it's done is so important right now. And I also believe that that can all be done from the innocence of an open heart, from the playfulness and from the place of wanting to be fully alive. You know, I say this every day to people, and I think I freak them out when I say this. They say to me, you know, why do you do everything that you do? Because I'm constantly busy. I'm constantly creating. I'm constantly, you know, working with people as a minister who need help. I'm constantly getting involved. And the reason I keep doing it is that that's what keeps my blood flowing. That's what keeps my spirit flowing. I came to this earth. I don't know how. I'm this bag of body that's walking around on the earth. And I'm having this opportunity for life. And I look up at the stars and I know I'm this little nothingness in this universe. And I know that I have a universe within me. And I feel and I see and I smell and I experience. And I get sad and I get happy and I feel everything in between. And it's a gift. The human experience in every single one of its spectrums is a gift. And that's the true mastery piece, is when you can come to a point where you don't just see this as Mary's life. Well, oh, my life's not going real well right now, you know. Oh, everything's shot to hell. No. This is my masterpiece. I'm here on this planet in this time on purpose, living, enjoying everything, never looking beyond the ordinary, never losing an opportunity to hug just a little tighter, to kiss just a little bit harder, because I know the preciousness of life and I know how fast it can be taken away. I've almost died so many times, I have no idea how much time I have left, and I don't want to waste it. I will not waste it. It is my mission and it is my vow to myself that I will not waste it getting caught up in hate and negativity and feeling like crap and living this life unconsciously. This is mine, and I claim it. And some people might say that's selfish. I think that's self-love. When you claim your life, that's what mastery really is. That's the true essence of living a fun and juicy life, because you are fully involved, you are fully engaged, you are fully connected. There's no filter in the way of really connecting in with that essence, what we all crave and desire. And so what I invite you to do is I invite you to take that opportunity. I invite you to gift yourself, to give yourself the love that you've always wanted, the presence that you've always wanted, the life, the fun, the joy, the experience, the love, the sex, the yumminess, the having friends, the whatever it is for you that you're denying yourself, the connection, the relationship, the emotional stability. But that you make a vow today and you embrace yourself and you hold yourself and you say, you know what? I choose me. I choose self-love. I choose to tap into the fun and yumminess in me. I choose to know that I'm enough and I'm good enough and I can do anything and I'm powerful. I choose. I choose. Because this is my life and this is your life. So give yourself permission. Give yourself permission. And don't worry about what other people say. Let go of all of that. Let go of the need to please. So let's see, we've got a few other comments here. Yes, you do have to. So here's from Anonymous. You do have to take care of yourself first. The only sure way to be able to effectively love others is when you are coming from a position of strength and confidence in your own self. Just as in when we're on an airplane, they teach us to put the oxygen mask on ourselves first before we put one on our children, because we can't possibly save them without doing that first. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that analogy is really, I think it's important in every aspect of our lives. And it's not selfish. It's such an incredible thing when you start really taking care and nourishing yourself, what starts to happen for you. And so thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I want to thank everybody for joining us today. And if you have any more questions, I want to make sure you go ahead and send them into Ask Mary Adams. And so now we have the best part of this giveaway for today with the webinar, which is giving away some of our free gifts. So here's how we're going to do it. So if you are interested in getting Joe Vitale, Chuck Pennington, and this is a meditation, harmonic thought meditation CD, send me an email, and in the email, you know, where you leave the little comments about what the email's about, go ahead and write Joe so Mary at askmaryadams.com if you would like this CD, and I will pick a winner for this. So Joe is the code word, and email me at Mary at askmaryadams.com. The other thing that we're giving away is this love energy meditation, which is incredible. This was created by Chuck Pennington, who is just an incredible practitioner and one of my partners. And so if you would like this DVD, send me an email, and in the headline section of what your email is about, write in love, and we will pick a winner. And last but not least, we have this gorgeous, gorgeous print. This is a print by TrishaMcWaters.com, and I love her art and her photography, and so I bought an extra when I saw it, and I thought it would be fun to share. And so if you would like this beautiful picture sent to you, send me an email at Mary at askmaryadams.com, and in the headline section, put the word 1, and I will pick a winner for that. And so I will be announcing those winners soon. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you signed up for this webinar, we will be announcing the next free webinar in a couple of weeks in our newsletter, and we will also be inviting everybody online. And you can also write to me at Mary at askmaryadams.com. You can find out more about me there, and you can also find my radio show, all my Facebook links. You can find out how to connect with me, and you can ask your questions for Ask Mary Adams. I appreciate you joining me, and I appreciate you being part of this energy. I hope that you make the choice, that you make that decision to really step into your life in a whole new way, to allow fun and juiciness to be your MO, to be how you live your life down to every last second. You appreciate and you create the masterpiece that you want. your life to be. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. And I appreciate your connection. Namaste. So much love. Bye-bye.